Okay, well, good day, everybody. It's Michael O'Connell here, Chief Analytics Officer at TIBCO. I'm going to be talking today about data analytics and AI in the energy sector. Going to go through some of the connected intelligence framework that we have at TIBCO for analytics and data management, and then dig into the energy sector with some case studies around oil and gas and grids, sustainables, mining, and then talk a little bit of what's under the hood of those solutions in terms of our products and solutions. Okay, I'm sort of, I don't see anybody, so hopefully this is all getting through okay. I'm sure I'll be contacted if it's not. So we take the position that all data begin as an event, and that we do analytics on data that accumulate in data lakes or databases, and then we get insights from those analytics and take action on those insights. And so it's our DNA is to unlock the potential of real-time data for making faster and smarter decisions. If you think about this connected intelligence that we have, this product portfolio and solutions, events are arriving at many different velocities. We work with those directly on the event stream in this top row, but we're also accumulating those data down into storage and where we train models and do visual analytics, and the users of these, consumers of these analyses consume them at many different frequencies. So this is the framework that we have that allows you to manage data both as it's occurring and as it's accumulating. The people that we design our products for, the visual analysts and data scientists, chief analytics officers who want to find insights in the data managers who want to deliver data quickly in a secure way and governed way, analytics operations and IT that want to get analytics into real-time decision-making, and then business leadership who are trying to outgrow the business and outgrow the competitors and grow their business. So if you think about so I know it's a busy diagram, but let's take a look at just the top part of it here. We're producing reports and dashboards and insights and predictions and alerts for the business. There's 4 big areas that we design products for: information portals, reports and dashboards, visual analytic workbenches for doing geospatial and analytic applications, data science labs, and developer studios. These are the 4 big product areas we focus on. And we're trying to help the BI developer, the business analyst, the analytics expert, the data scientist, the engineer, developer, and also the data managers, the data stewards, data engineers, and so on, who are building out data marts and data lakes and streaming data systems and managing data and doing metadata classification and data catalogs, all against the corporate data sources. And we've got a number of products that deal with those sorts of analytic applications and those sorts of data management tasks. And that all comes together to serve the business operations. So just briefly about the products that you're going to see in the case studies. We acquire data, we drop it into systems of record, we stream it, we virtualize it, and then we visualize it in Spotfire. Create analytic apps. And in the middle of that, we do data science and we manage the models. And then we also do master data management and put APIs on the models to put them into production. And underneath all of that are the cloud vendors who have got data storage systems and cloud-based data sources, SDKs and APIs into their Python SDKs for calling out to image analysis and so on, and then reporting tools. That's the lineup there. So with that as backdrop, I wanted to get into some of the applications that we create for the energy sector. You know, the energy sector, it is a digital business. So upstream, we're doing exploration, drilling, production, planning, reservoir analysis. We're doing scheduling, performance risk and trading, logistics, supply chain, down on into refining, grid management, sales and marketing. All of that is under the remit of the energy sector, and we're a very strong player in this sector. So if you think about starting at the beginning, trying to do exploration and understand a reservoir, whether it's offshore, onshore, how to drill, where to drill, how to manage a portfolio of investments, manage the environment, health and safety, that kind of thing. So in Spotfire, you can look geospatially at a asset, understand where the drilling might have occurred already, get satellite imagery of the well pad, and really understand this, how the asset is being developed and how you can characterize it. Now, in terms of characterization, understanding, for example, the total organic carbon and the contours of that, where the hotspots are here in orange, where you might have a good results. But also, where have you already drilled? So there might be a certain set of wells, you add a halo around those for drainage, and then you look at that pattern in context of the total organic carbon distribution, and now you can see where is the best spot to go after next, given what's there and given what's already been drilled. So that little orange part down the bottom left-hand corner here looks like it has some opportunity, for example. Now, after you've developed that and characterized that the reservoir, and you have your holdings that you're looking to develop, how do you drill? How do you create value during the drilling operation? Now, in this case, the data is coming off the drill bit as a stream of real-time data. So how do you recognize the activity of the drill, the trajectory? How do you manage where you plan to go versus where you're actually going? So it becomes very much a real-time operations. This is a real-time use case where you might be drilling down a particular path here, but you're really, sorry about that, you're really trying to be on this path. So how do you get back from here to the planned trajectory? So it's kind of like, you know, you try to go to your friend's place, or pre-COVID, go to your friend's place and you get lost. How do you turn on the navigation system and quickly get back on course? That's kind of what we do here. So monitoring the well path, the proposed well path, and getting back to the plan, and also figuring out the best yet to drill path. So we're getting data directly off the drill bit. We're able to, in addition to keep the trajectory, we're able to understand and predict the performance of the drill bit. So we want to, you know, not bust up the drill bit, so we can look at during the course of the drilling operation, we can estimate the wear. And the wear is, you know, there's a mathematical machine learning type prediction around that. The wear factor is a function of the rate of penetration and the weight on the bit. And so you fit that every time you get a new data set, you can fit that and predict the bit wear as you're getting data. So you're getting these predictions during the course of the drilling, and you can see at this top case here, doing pretty well. The bottom case, we had some early warning signals here that the predicted bit wear was going to be high, and you know, we didn't figure out how to back off of it, and that's what happened to the you know, to the drill bit. So you know, having a model that you can apply as data are coming through to get predictions of bit wear allows you to, you know, monitor the operation while you're drilling. It's very valuable. So you might have a path, for example, that you've planned in Spotfire with all the angles and so on, and then you see what's happening, and you make the course correction, and you're doing all of this machine learning and model fitting right at the edge on the streaming data that are coming off the drill bit. And you know, in the lower 48 at least, you're getting, and in the Canadian shale and oil sands, you're getting data directly off the bit in real time. And the WITS-O format is a format that gives you sub-second data. The WITS-ML format, you know, around multi-seconds or minutes of data. But this data allows you to do those predictions and make adjustments while you're in the operational phase. So this is a huge money saver. I mean, this is a quote from New York Times, I guess, or a couple of years ago, from ConocoPhillips, talking about the billions of dollars of savings they've achieved using Spotfire in their operations in the Eagleford resource play. Yeah, it's they did ask me about the price of our software. Certainly, well, it's not in the billions of dollars. You can get Spotfire for a fairly modest amount of investment that will help you, realize those sorts of savings. Now, you've drilled the well, you've completed the well. You want to get now out into production and keep your finger on the pulse of the, what's going on at the production at the well. So data operations, model inference, asset management. So here you've got data coming from a lot of wells into a control center, and you're looking for patterns where you might have a pressure spike from an electric submersible pump, for example, and you're able to make a intervention, basically tell the folks out in the field which wells to go and visit, not just randomly go around and visit wells, but go look at this well because it's starting to show signs of supply interruption, right? So that's the sort of thing that we've built out into Spotfire analyses here. Spotfire will take real-time data feeds, for example, so I can see for this particular well that's in focus here, I can see the traces of the pressure and temperature and current and so on. So those data are coming in, being analyzed and cleaned, and the features that you need to feed the model are being developed, and then you can write that clean data back out to the database, as well as look at it and make some interventions right there. So some of our customers are monitoring literally thousands of wells worldwide in this way. So you can see across the top the schematic of the wells, and you can see the ones that hit the red zone, which is typically this dot here. The size of the dot is the pressure, and the position is on the y-axis is the current. Let me just go back there for a minute and show you that again. So you can see, let me pause it here. When a dot gets big, that means the pressure has gone up. And when it drops to the bottom here, that means the current has gone down. And that combination of increasing pressure as per the size of the dot, and decreasing current per the y-axis position shows that you've got a situation there. And there's that particular well right here. Here's its pressure and current. Here over here is where it's located. So you can generate a series of exception report that you can send out to the field and have them go and look at that particular well. And as you drill into the data for that well, you can see the traces of current and pressure and understand that across neighboring wells or wells with similar equipment on them. Really gives you a surveillance system that you can remotely monitor, like I say, thousands of wells that are out in the field. There's a lot of different geospatial views of this. You can also change the alert thresholds on, say, pressure and current. You can figure out where you want to set those. If you set them too low, you get a lot of alerts. So you have to figure out where that sweet spot is in the setting, and you can test that and do back testing to find the settings that give you the largest number of true positives and the smallest number of false positives. But those are all data science tricks that you can develop based on data that accumulate, and then you can apply those learnings to data that's current. So we do a lot of this work, with our customers directly in the energy sector, but we also do some work with our partners like Schlumberger that have launched a DELFI product that's cloud-based analytics that includes Spotfire and TIBCO data virtualization inside of this environment to do things like planning, where you're going to explore, drilling planning, drilling operations, production operations, all those things I was just showing you. We're working with Schlumberger to deliver those solutions in a cloud environment. We also work with IHS. Some of the things you saw there around reservoir characterization are things that we've been collaborating with IHS on. This is the IHS Analytics Explorer product that has Spotfire inside of it, to help characterize reservoirs and analyze seismic data, for example. We're also big into the OSDU when it comes to oil and gas data. This is a new project, a consortium among a number of companies, energy companies, to set standards for subsurface data models and metadata models, naming, how to consistently structure upstream oil and gas data to enable analytics on the downstream. So we've been working with the Release 2 candidate. We're just starting to work with the Release 3 candidate, which is targeted for a month or two down the road. but you can, using our Spotfire data functions and templates, you can access this OSDU data that a number of companies are starting to standardize on. Okay, so that's the upstream oil and gas, exploration, production. If you get down into once the energy started landing, and being available for consumption, we also have a lot of work that goes on in the grid. So here's an example of a collaboration we're doing with the company NL, which is doing smart grid infrastructure, analytics and reporting for authorities, planning and control of the grid. Obviously, there's a situation in Texas right at the moment that I'll talk about in a little bit. But this is a company that's using us for a broad range of smart grid infrastructure management, including AWS, IoT type applications, and visual analytics across the board. Now, when you get all the way down to the retailer, creating value at the gas station with products such as lubricants that you can sell through there. This gets to be a retail set of use cases around how to develop product, lubricants and blends, how to sell that into customers and have loyalty programs, for example, with your favorite gas station, understand the demand and supply, open stores, do GeoAnalytics. These are all different sorts of use cases that we service through Spotfire. Risk management, as you start to trade positions in different commodities, understanding the hedging positions, supply trading for crude and gas and refined products. This has been going pretty crazy lately, a big uptick in prices and an uptick in demand. And so you can track that in Spotfire for volatility and so on. And we have a number of specialized partners there. ZE Data is one, and Point Focal is another that brings to bear, earnings estimates and dark pool trading and sentiment analysis that can help the trader hedge positions across their business. We also get into manufacturing. So in the areas of refining and blending, there's a lot of analytics that go into this. So if you look at, say, for example, the fraction failing of parts over time, this is the fraction failing here on the log scale versus time, you can convert that analysis. This is a Weibull, a reliability analysis. You can convert that into a maintenance. If you look at the maintenance interval on the x-axis versus the cost on the y-axis, you can convert this Weibull analysis into an optimal maintenance schedule for a particular set of assets. And we have various templates in Spotfire that allows you to plug in the cost of a maintenance event versus the cost of an unplanned failure and figure out the sweet spot for when you do maintenance. So this predictive maintenance is the other side of the coin from the condition-based maintenance that I was showing earlier for production wells and monitoring their condition. This is the absent any issues with condition. This is where you'd want to be maintaining the equipment in a looking forward sort of a manner. And so there's details around this about how to fit the Weibull analysis and how to estimate the probability of failure and the cumulative probability of failure. This cumulative probability of failure is the important thing that when you multiply that by the cost of an unplanned downtime event, that gives you that cost curve that you can then optimize. So fairly detailed analysis calling out to R and Python is available from Spotfire for this purpose. Okay, so talking a little bit more now about grids and sustainable power. This is really blowing up this week, right, in Texas, and I grabbed a couple of articles from LinkedIn on this. But basically, value on the grid, we talked a little bit about outages and root cause analysis, asset management, customer engagement. We work with a number of folks on this sort of thing. This is Sask Power in Canada that we work with to track and monitor hardware and service issues and understand outages for customers in their region, getting an outage map and so on, or streetlight issues. This gives the consumer a view into the grid operations. And then hydro, another engagement we have with a Canadian company, BC Hydro, for looking at operations of hydro-generated power and delivery to the smart grid, looking at leakage and smart meter analyses and integration and predicting downtime and leakage, pinpointing the leakage. So big savings there by minimizing leakage and understanding customer satisfaction. Now, sustainable energy, this is where the hotspot is in Texas this week. Wind turbines. Wind turbines are very efficient things. We've got, I'll show you a case study here where we're for a partner company of ours, Vestas. We're managing a bunch of turbines, doing predictive analytics on those. But I think the hot topic in this area at the moment is what's going on with the ERCOT power prices and demand and supply. These are just screenshots I grabbed right before this presentation from LinkedIn. The ERCOT power prices have surged up from a normal range of $20–$30 per megawatt hour to $9,000 per megawatt hour. That's the current price. So in this sort of free market system, it's a challenge when you have production dropped and the large increase in demand begins outpacing the forecasts, and mass customer load got dropped here in the last day or two following the demand spike. And then you've got the pricing surging here. Now, it's unfortunate some of this stuff is being politicized, but you have to kind of read through that. Our partner Anatel is doing a great job of putting up these. Most of these things are coming up from Anatel. This is a Spotfire partner who does a lot of their interesting things around energy market with us. But it's important to note that in one of the posts here that the ERCOT shortfall exceeded the total capacity of wind generation, because it feels like the wind systems for turbines were getting a bad rap here. It's nice to show a photo of a frozen wind turbine, but when the wind here is a small fraction of the overall ERCOT generation, it's what we got here, a comment by this other guy, wind shutdowns accounted for like 3 to 4 gigawatts, less than 13% of the total outages, and wind comprises less than 25% of the state's energy mix. So it really is a multi-source issue and sort of free market issue when you start to get surge in pricing like this. But it is fascinating I recommend you follow Anatel, and if you're interested in what's happening in Texas right now, and also the quality of the Spotfire analyses that this company does is really quite stellar. A lot of the graphs that have been floating around LinkedIn have got these stacked bar charts, and they're hard to read. If you do just a basic line chart, it really shows what are the composition, for example, of the generation of power by source in a much nicer way than stacked bar charts, which are difficult to read. But there's a surge in prices across the board with energy prices. Oil, iron ore is surging like crazy. Copper really is a good time for this industry in terms of the price surge and the increased demand for energy and mining type data sources, and with sustainable energy kind of in the news, understanding how to increase the growth of capacity over the next 10-20 years. Every major energy company is talking about this. I was watching the Shell presentation to their investors earlier in the week. BP, it's all about how can we lower the carbon footprint while still running a significant business by adjusting the mix of systems. Really fascinating times as to what's going on around the world, and also in the US in terms of solar and wind and other renewable sources of energy. With the major companies that I was talking about there. So we've been doing some analyses. We had some webinars on this and looking at the mix of energy sources that are being worked on, and we have a couple of customer case studies. I mentioned the Endesa case study earlier. Vestas is a fascinating company. I mentioned they've got 60,000 or more turbines out there around the world. They manage about half of those. Every one of these turbines has about 1,000 data points per minute per turbine, and analyzing all of those in Spotfire to understand production and maintenance and schedules and all of that. Lots of notifications and analytics that we're getting off these systems in order to understand what are the ones that need to be looked at right now. You know, some of the systems, if you read those LinkedIn posts in Texas, can be set up with remote de-icing capabilities. That does cost more, and so that most of the wind turbines in Texas don't have that. But it is a highly sophisticated piece of equipment that you can configure in a way that you can remotely control the temperature, and you can remotely help the blades of the turbine adjust to the wind and be very efficient in capture of energy. So yeah, that whole renewables thing is a fascinating area at the moment. Also, you know, the surge in iron ore prices and mining is fascinating. You know, this is a partner of ours in Australia who's had built out a Spotfire analytic application that includes drilling and hauling and processing and all the mining type use cases, health and safety in the environment, and being able to take a look through some of their use cases for understanding the hauling and drilling and processing, and optimizing that or keeping a track of that. Understand that the tonnage drilled is a function of time. You know, hauling is a big thing in mining. Processing the raw ore, for example, into different quality products, and then understanding how to fulfill the supply chain of those as the demand for these products around the world is on a big uptick. You know, HSE, as I mentioned, pretty significant to keep track of safety and health and environmental issues. So being able to use Spotfire to lay out incident tracking scenarios as a function of location has always been a strong use case for Spotfire. So those are just a sampling then of what we see out in the field, from upstream oil and gas exploration production to grids and trading and mining and sustainable energy. Really it's been a terrific journey for TIBCO as we've radiated into all these different use cases. Spotfire is such a suitable tool with its strong geoanalytics components and predictive pieces and interactive viz. And so let me talk, the last part of the talk today is to get under the hood of what you just saw and show you some of the analytic components that we have in our TIBCO stack that addresses this. So this past year, the analysts, notably Gartner, and the press, in this case, Tech Republic, are talking about how these worlds of analytics and data management and data science, data governance are all colliding. And you might have thought you were just doing Spotfire stuff a couple of years back, but now you want to manage the data, or you want to bring in real-time streaming data, or you want to do data science. All of those worlds are colliding and generating value in that collision. Now, we've got an example on our website, tibco.com/COVID-19, which does this in spades. In fact, this type of collision that the analysts and the press are writing about, we've been doing that at TIBCO for years. But you can go and check out some of the stuff that we've got in our Spotfire app on the website. You can do a marking on a map, for example. We automatically do a hotspot analysis based on that marking and update the map. That's a little bit of data science happening as you draw a circle on a map. Similarly, for the virus reproduction number, you can go find a piece of the world and click on things, and we'll estimate the rate at which the virus is reproducing in those different local regions. We'll generate natural language to interpret that for you. We'll give you parameters that will fit into that data science model that you can slide through. If you look at cases as a function of region, we're fitting super smooth the curves through that, which have much better properties than the 7-day moving averages that most of the popular press uses, for example. We'll do forecasts on top of different regions in terms of cases or hospitalizations and fatalities. You can interact with the map to figure out where you might want to get a test or who's offering a vaccine live on a map. We've added vaccine tracking recently, but it really is a showcase for the combination of data science and Spotfire and data management. And that's why I've brought it in here as a example of what the press is, is talking about. And, underneath of that, we've got TIBCO data, TIBCO messaging and integration that's integrating data, putting that into TIBCO streaming for doing analysis on the event stream and having Spotfire visualize that. But also a lot of our companies will take the integration they do on the event stream and drop that down into a database or a data warehouse. And we can connect our TIBCO data virtualization on top of that to create federated views and joins of those data and serve up joined and virtual views of data into Spotfire for analysis. So this combination of products here is really at the core of TIBCO's success in not just energy, but other sectors. And then you add into that the data science capabilities, whether it's through Python or R, Jupyter Notebooks, TIBCO's own data science products, calling out the runtime engines like Spark for big data and R and Python, and then publishing out your models. We've got a new product coming up, a short amount of time this year that will manage those models for you across the different products. And then doing master data management of the metadata and reference data and master data, putting APIs on things to call them from other systems. This is a very analytics and data management view of the TIBCO portfolio, but this is all of it, on one screen, and how these worlds of data science and data management and visual analytics and integration or development are all coming together. And this is also accelerated by the cloud partners who have got cheap data storage now in Amazon S3 and Azure Data Lake Storage, Google Cloud Storage, processing on the event stream, new databases, SDKs for calling into services that are offered by the cloud vendors, like things like video analysis and text analysis and so on, voice, and feeding that into this picture. So just to look a little bit under the hood of some of those, TIBCO DV allows you to join data from many different sources and create this layer, a virtual layer, where you can approach that virtual layer through just SQL or JDBC type queries and have TIBCO data virtualization delegate out the compute that you're looking for to bring that joined data into Spotfire or TIBCO Data Science, or bring the analysis of those data into those environments, giving you control on that middle layer, so that you can get a 360-degree view of anything. It's a work studio that allows you to do those joins, and you can serve up the data as a service. You connect into really squirrely data like JSON objects, and unpack that and serve it up as a flattened table that you can then easily analyze. All of those sorts of tools for data management are inside of this product that goes very well with Spotfire. And there's adapters to more than 200 sources that go with this product for doing the federation and joining of the raw sources into the data and analytics product. TIBCO EBX, this is another data management product. This is for doing master data management, looking at all of your shared data assets, master data, reference data, metadata, and allowing you to model it in ways that you can match and merge, apply security, manage hierarchies, build workflows, so that you really understand what data you're modeling and surfacing up to the analytics layer. So, for example, in the oil and gas space, you might create a model for your well data. You might use the unique well identifier as a key component of that. But here's a flow where you want to add a new well. Someone has to approve that. You can merge that into a data space. The attributes of that might be its status, the type of well, the fluid, the operator, the region, the financial entity. So all of the master data that you can manage around this can be brought to bear. And then you can have different hierarchies, a hierarchy on shale type, or a hierarchy on region, or a hierarchy on equipment. Gives you the ability to have a view into, for a particular use case, the set of data that's useful for you. So you might start off by looking at your field, getting the UWI to as a join for looking at well master data, then pushing this out to TIBCO Data Virtualization and into TIBCO Data Science and Spotfire for analysis while you're maintaining this master data model on all of your shared data assets. And then of course, Spotfire, where you can do automatic suggestions. So you click on a field here, Spotfire will automatically find the other variables that are related to that, give you the relationships in sorted order. They can be trellised, different shadings to represent multivariate relationships. They can be curvilinear, like the one I just dragged in, or linear. So this is a highway fuel efficiency analysis as a function of engine displacement and drive description and so on. So a few clicks and you get an analysis there. You can also have a conversation with your data. There's advanced GeoAnalytics. You can extend the palette with custom JavaScript, inbuilt data wrangling and data science and streaming. It really is everything at your fingertips in this product. The GeoAnalytics part is particularly strong and relevant to the energy sector. It really got us a head start in the energy sector many years ago. But you can do geocoding, reverse geocoding. You can look at different regions of like this bottom left-hand corner, income for in closeness to a store, for example. You can do route optimization and trade area analysis. You can bring in multi-coordinate systems like North America and World Global System. You can map other data that's not geography. In this case, we're doing an analysis of the San Francisco airport. So we're looking at traffic patterns, which are diminished in the last year or so, but and then doing contour analysis, in this case of weather data. Lots of spatial data functions for doing analysis on top of geospatial data. Now, Spotfire mods, this is a new feature in Spotfire 11 that allows you to modify the visual palette to create visualizations that are extensions of what's in the local palette of graphs inside of Spotfire. So this allows you to play the bottom right-hand corner. I'm looking at some seismic data. And I've got a custom visual down there that is rendering that's not available in the base set of Spotfire. So this is really opens up a lot of doors for you to create purpose-fit graphs. And here's a network chart that someone on my data science team created. This is F1 data. So we're looking at predicting lap times here as a function of different variables of the car and the track and so on. But you can see how this network chart, which is not in the base product, can be wired up to, on the left-hand side there, the sliders and the filters, all the usual things in Spotfire that you can apply. On the right-hand side, we've got line width that we can control as a function of another variable, and color schemes and so on. And you can see across the top, I'm clicking in all the sectors, and now I can see that the variables that affect lap time, the engine temperature, the fuel that's in the tank, the position on the track, those sort of things. The network chart is very, very useful. Inline data wrangling. So Spotfire, you can point and click to create your data sets for your analysis, but behind the scenes, we keep track of everything you do. And that gives you a full lineage from when you start creating an application to the current state of it. And you can see all the joins and, what the person has done who's created this template from the start, and you can go in and edit that, or you can use it as a starting point to create another application, or inside of the canvas as you're adding things, Spotfire is giving you suggestions. Do you want to do an inner join or an outer join? So it's really a full editing and authoring. The canvas supplies that function, as well as tracking and giving you a lineage and an audit trail of what's been done that allows you to get a jump start on a new analysis, for example. The way we consume data in Spotfire through getting data through information services directly into memory, or delegating the compute down into the database, or caching out the results. Lots of databases that we can connect to in this hybrid way. Oftentimes you might want to do a direct query and aggregate the data and bring the aggregations in, but you might want to follow that by an in-memory operation. These are things that are unique to Spotfire, and the extension of the data sources to TIBCO Data Virtualization is a wonderful, wonderful combination. The inbuilt data science is very popular. So here I'm marking a map and I'm doing a Voronoi tessellation. That's a very useful analysis when you have, say, a geology sample and a bunch of wells nearby it, and you want to look at, say, production from the well, the closest well, as a function of the samples of the geology that you've taken. This allows you a way to spatially line up different attributes and join them in a predictive analysis. Now, we have both R and Python engines are inbuilt inside the product. So you can write Python functions or R functions and fully, not like competitors, our competitor products, which just allow you to add a column to a table or something. No, it's a full-blown R session or Python session, mapping, say, the pandas data frame to the Spotfire data table, or data.table in R to the Spotfire data table, and everything, on top of that with all the markings and selections and so on can be used to trigger an R or Python calculation. All of the calculations are managed in the data canvas. And now we've recently added in Spotfire this data function flyout. So the data functions that you use commonly, you can put into a convenient location for both yourself and your colleagues to then just drag those functionalities onto the canvas or onto the map or onto another chart, for example. And then Spotfire data streams, the ability to connect into live data, whether it's MQTT or a Kafka or Pulsar, and show live updates inside of your analysis. You can mark those and drill down to static data. It just works just like anything else in Spotfire. It's just another data source, really. And then the streaming piece, there's a separate product for that if you want to get into that in more detail. It allows you to connect to the stream, do transformations, aggregations, apply rules, and apply data science models on the event stream, and feed that up to business intelligence and data science solutions. And speaking of data science, TIBCO Data Science is a very collaborative environment for doing either Python notebook type analysis or point and click analysis. You can drag your Python notebook onto the canvas here, and it will pick up from where you've left off with your visual components. This is a collaborative tool that allows you to have some people working on Spotfire, some people working on data science, and all of that's managed inside of this collaborative environment. And then as I mentioned, we're working on a new product, TIBCO ModelOps, that allows you to keep track of the workflows that you've created share those for people to use in a version controlled manner, governed and compliant, scoring pipelines that you can patch things together from data prep to modeling and so on, granular roles and permissions. Very full-featured ModelOps product that helps us plug a gap in the life cycle from project definition, acquisition, blending, feature generation, modeling, model refinement, deployment, and monitoring and testing that goes with the rest of the stack here. And we've written a book, a Riley book on this, if you're interested in learning more about this full life cycle of TIBCO analytics. So just to wrap up with some of the solutions that we have available through our field versus the product, we have a program called TIBCO Labs that includes things like IoT applications, blockchain, customer journey, graph database type things, Project Discover for mining data in business processes. These are all projects that you can run inside of cloud environments, and you can, there's a GitHub repo for them that you can go check things in and out and leverage against your own data. So to feature one application in TIBCO Labs, Project Air is our IoT framework. And this is built on top of the EdgeX Foundry, the Linux EdgeX Foundry, which allows you to get connections to a bunch of different devices and sources and sensors from equipment, for example. And we've got our runtime Flogo engine inside of this. It's our own open source from the ground up product that allows you to integrate data in very low footprint environments. We can connect to the devices. We can do stream processing on the data coming off of them, apply business rules, and included in that, that's the Project Air framework. And then included in that is also the ability to do data science, root cause analysis, anomaly detection, and so on, using TIBCO Spotfire, TIBCO Data Science, and TIBCO Live Apps, our business process in the cloud, and apply those analyses into various cloud-based data sources, and put that back onto the event stream for doing smart analytics at the edge or in the cloud. So that's the foundation, is this EdgeX platform to get access to all these different data sources and standards for the IoT devices that are out there, from MQTT to OPC and so on. And some of the things we've done with that in partnership with our cloud partners, this is some work we did with Microsoft, where we created some anomaly detection models in Spotfire and in TIBCO Data Science. And we containerize those and allow you to take the containerized anomaly detection models out to an edge environment, run those models, get back the anomalies, understand the root cause behind the anomalies, and dig into the logs to figure out what could be the reason and the recommendation of fixing the equipment. This is a combined, TIBCO Microsoft offering using their cognitive services framework, combined with Spotfire and TIBCO Data Science. We were featured at Microsoft AI at the Edge at the Microsoft Build and Inspire conferences last year on this. We've got some upcoming sessions with them. You can read about this, in various blogs and so on, about how we train up a data science model, put it into a container, and take it out with TIBCO Spotfire to an edge environment, get the sensor data from the edge, analyze that, and take an action. We're also doing something similar with AWS, where we're doing anomaly detection on wafers and spatial data, visualizing that in Spotfire, building an analysis in TIBCO Data Science, putting that operation into an event stream, feeding data in from the event stream, analyzing the model on the event stream to find the patterns and anomalies of interest, and taking action on those. And we were a launch partner also with AWS at reInvent in December, for a couple of services around anomaly detection with computer vision at the edge, AWS Panorama, and Amazon Lookout for doing product defects based on visual analytics of quality inspection of outputs from manufacturing facilities, or understanding condition of equipment in the field, that kind of thing. So I'm going to wrap it up here. And, I invite you to join our community.tibco.com, where you can, if you're interested in Spotfire, there's a monthly Dr. Spotfire session. There's also a Dr. Data Science session that runs every month. You can check out some of our work at community.tibco.com/blog. We're writing blogs all the time that go up there. So yeah, follow us, and also invite you to go check out our demo gallery, where some of the things I showed today are available as live demos, and you click your way through, for example, the oil well equipment surveillance use case. So yeah, this is some links that you might want to take a photo of and go take a look. The Dr. Spotfire channel on YouTube is pretty cool. Part of the TIBCO Spotfire and TIBCO Data Science YouTube channels that we have up there, that you can go take a look and find tips and tricks on how to get the most out of Spotfire in combination with R and Python and so on. And that's it. I'm not sure how the question and answer works for this conference, but I'm certainly happy to take any questions. And you can follow my Twitter feed at Mike O'Connell. You can send me an email. You can go look at our community site and our blog. And if you don't have Spotfire, you can go download it and take a trial of it. Let me know if you do that, and I'll hook you up with someone who can help you. And I'm going to wrap it up here.
Hi, Michael. If you just take a look at the chat section, you'll be able to see the questions that people have for you.
Oh, okay. Sure. There's a question here from Hadi Javed talking about, data is so important. What do you feel are the most common data gaps, and how do you have solutions for those gaps? Yeah, so I did talk about that quite a bit. It's, everything's based on having data available. for doing analytics. And it's really, people like to talk about analytics, but it's really the whole spectrum here. If you go back to one of my earlier slides and showing the importance of all of the different functions from analytics to data management, this right here. The analytics folks, the data management folks, what the analytics people are working on in terms of reports and visual analytics and data science and developers, and then all the different data tasks that the data management folks take care of. It really is a team sport when it comes to, visual analytics, data management, operations or development, and the business. And that's these worlds that were, a little bit separate have started to, to collide. Let me see here. The collision here is, described in this slide, for example. I think these worlds are colliding, and we're mutually dependent on each other, from data management to analytics. So good question. It's hopefully this presentation helped you with understanding some of those gaps. So I'm not sure if there's anyone moderating. Here, I've got another question. What advice would you give to the data science students and researchers who are just starting their career? Okay, yeah, another great question. Really, what I look for in hiring folks is really some kind of passion or curiosity, to learn. That's worth more than being able to write a certain Python function, although that's part of the journey as well. But no, curiosity to learn. A combination of a visual analysis tool with a scripting tool. Spotfire with Python or Spotfire with R is a good combination to get started. But don't forget about the data management pieces. So I often ask, I'm also often looking for SQL skills as well as R and Python and Spotfire, and some data management skills are important too. But curiosity and passion are hugely important. Humility and gratitude, those sorts of general characteristics, human characteristics. We have a pretty big data science team at TIBCO, and the ability to collaborate and work with others is important set of skills as well. You got to have fun doing what you do to enjoy getting up in the morning and keep doing it. So yeah, great question. And I do invite you to keep track of us in that regard, because we're always looking for interns or hiring people into the group. So yeah.
Awesome. Another question we have for you is, where's data analytics / data science headed in the next few years?
Right, sure. Well, I think it's this this combination. I think I showed this diagram here of the combination of all the stuff that we sort of produce as a software vendor, but also what's going on in the cloud systems. I had quite a bit of focus in this presentation today on our cloud vendor partners. And if you look at the the products that we're producing, and also the products that our cloud partners are producing, data storage in Amazon S3 and Azure Data Lake Storage, Google Cloud Storage, new database technologies, Google BigQuery and Redshift and Synapse, for example, SDKs into the Python APIs that these cloud companies offer, to do analysis like image recognition, video analysis, speech, text, that kind of thing. So, a typical day in the life of data scientists might be to create a Python notebook, but also call out to an image recognition service on Amazon, connect into a data cluster and analyze a big data set. lots of stuff that goes on in this square here, that a lot of skills to learn, and look for connecting to certain data and running certain services and learning how to build models and prepare data. But yeah, this hybrid world of using our software, for example, in combination with cloud vendor software, is where a lot of the activity is at the moment.
Another question coming in from Shelley. She's asking, how can AI and data analytics be leveraged by the FNMI communities interested in building capacity in the energy sector? And the FNMI stands for First Nation, Métis, and Inuit.
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I think I had a little bit of a section here on capacity and management, with the blow up in Texas at the moment. I think getting a better handle on demand, demand forecasting. I think a lot of the demand forecasting, didn't account for the large uptick in demand following freezing temperatures. And so when you have a free market system without a lot of capacity for variability, combine that with a large and sudden collapse in supply due to the weather, and then you got a lot of unhappy customers, right? So I think there's just so much opportunity as the oil and gas majors turn their attention to the full supply chain scenarios, and understanding the portfolios that they're building, and looking at, say, forecasts of new sources of energy, renewable, sustainable energy. I think if you go, I would take a look at, for example, what Shell and BP are saying to the world about their direction, and what they're investing in. It's I think the sustainable stuff, but also the whole market is getting lifted, right? I mean, at the moment, there's demand everywhere, demand for oil and commodities, and I think it's real important to keep a handle on demand and supply, and that's, I think, an important narrative and important thing that's going on at the moment that you can tap into. And I would encourage you to take a look at some of the really fascinating discussion that's going on in LinkedIn at the moment around the ERCOT situation in Texas. So much that analysts and data scientists and data managers can contribute to the operations of the energy sector. And I covered a lot of case studies in here, but if you go back to that original graph that I showed here, there's opportunities all the way through, from exploration, production, to planning, scheduling, risk, trading, supply. It's a digital business, top to bottom, the energy sector, and you really can't go wrong in focusing your career effort in this area. There's just so much going on. Supplying energy to a growing population around the world is clearly a pretty foundational and fundamental part of being alive. And it's been exciting for me to participate in all these different aspects of the energy sector, and top to bottom, and I recommend it.
Okay, awesome. I think we're reaching the end of our time, Michael. We really appreciate you giving this talk to us.
Great. Well, thanks for the opportunity, and I hope you enjoyed it, and happy to stay in touch.